Hello. It's that time of the week when we meet again here on television on our weekly magazine program, Deltascope. That program that plays host to economic, social, and political stakeholders in the Delta State Development Project. My name is Onome Iyarowe. I welcome you on behalf of the producer and the production team. This week on the program Deltascope, we are playing host to an astute administrator, a legislator, a disciplined and focused national leader of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, from Burutu, local government area of Delta State. We're talking about Honorable Franc Enekorogha. When our crew met with Honorable Franc Enekorogha, he shared with us and spoke so much about the different offices he had occupied, both elective and appointed in Delta State. Well, so much you will see from this interview with Honorable Franc Enekorogha. Let's join him as he takes us through his personal contributions and collective contributions in the development of Delta State.
Sir, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Sir, let's start from the beginning. How did you get into this sea of politics?
Yes, I have been a local man, with the local people down in the village. And the people I stay with have been confronted with a lot of difficulties. And I told myself that some of these things, if I was given the opportunity to change some of this, I could do that by changing the narratives of the local people. And I decided to come into politics because my determination was that except you get into the arena and begin to dance with the people, it will be difficult for you to change the narratives of the people. And so that was how I came into politics, believing, even as of today, that there's much people in government with every sincerity can do for their people at their local level. And so that actually took me into the arena where I find myself.
Okay. Now, you have a degree in engineering.
Yeah.
Engineering. So between when you left school and when you joined politics, where were you?
Yeah, yes, when I graduated, I actually took up a job with industrial solvents and chemical, an oil servicing company at Warri. I later left industrial solvents and chemical for overseas technical services, also an oil servicing company that in Warri that had to do job with Shell, Mobil, Ajib, and all that. It was when I made up my mind that I wanted to come into politics that I had to voluntarily resign from the overseas technical services where I was actually a superintending engineer at that particular time.
When you joined politics, what party did you start with?
No, I started with DPN, Democratic People of Nigeria, during the military era. And I also contested under that party to the House of Assembly during the military time. But unfortunately, we were kept at home for about 6 months. The house that was not inaugurated until the death of the then head of state, Abacha, and all those ones were scrapped.
Weren't you disappointed and disillusioned?
No, you see, when you have determination, nothing should deter you. Except you went in and you said, oh, temporarily I want to get some gains and perhaps jump out of it. But I was determined by the desire, by the drive, that there's something in me that I could offer to the people. So, since it was not personal, whatever gains us at that time was nothing to me. It didn't affect me in any way. But I was still determined that, look, if I am allowed to go into this system, there are 1 or 2 things that I can do for my people. So even when Abacha kept us at home for 6 months, parties were dissolved, all the monies we spent in elections all went down the drain. We were not determined. And when we came back again, 1998 and told people that I wanted to contest. Of course, there were a lot of people who were laughing at us, and people who were jobless. In spite of what Abacha did to these people, they are still thinking of going to politics and contesting and doing all that and all that. But interestingly, what you find today is that everybody wants to do that.
Yes. Is it that it becomes so lucrative?
Well, the interpretations are various and also personal to the different persons. Just like in the Bible, in every 12 you have the Judas. So, for everybody going into politics, the interpretations are different. Mine is different. I can't speak for any other person. But for me, like I said, the desire is to serve. And I think by the special grace of God, I have demonstrated that it is not something that it is difficult for you to judge yourself in any way to have satisfied the people. But then, it also behoves on you to tell people what you have done. It's left for the people to say, okay, you did well or you didn't do well. But as far as I'm concerned, my desire is something that can't be taken away from me, no matter the obstacles I face.
After your DPN days, you now contested under PDP.
Yes. The 1998, we formed the PDP. And like I said, because I contested for the House of Assembly before that was not inaugurated, I also had to contest again, and I won. And so we came into the House precisely 6th of June, 1999. That was the beginning of the House of Assembly journey.
Your set was the first of the new democratic.
Yeah, the new democracy. Our set was the first in the new democracy.
Yeah. What was it like starting?
Yes, it was like a learning ground. Being the first set of persons in that assembly, it was like a learning ground. But I tell you the truth, once you are determined, there are a few things. There are some persons who have the experience before they go into certain jobs. There are others who also want to learn on the job. And ours was actually learning on the job. And for those of us who came into the House in 1999, I wouldn't want to give it to us directly, but others can say it. We were determined. We were prepared to learn. And of course, we learned very fast. And I'm sure from the records we have in the House of Assembly as at today, those of us who were in the House from 1999 to 2003 and beyond, we were actually legislators, the way we started. And that, no, the legislative business is purely making of laws. It's not about just going to the floor of the House and moving motions or supporting motions and all that. Purely, the business is rule making, rule finding, rule keeping. That is the business of a legislator. It's just because our environment is adulterated. So, what the executive is supposed to do, somewhere along the line, is tied to a legislator. Otherwise, purely that is your business. You make laws for the people. And for those of us who started, we were determined that we were there to make laws. How do you make laws? You make laws to affect the ordinary man. And how will the laws affect the ordinary man? What is the thinking of this set of persons in this environment, assuming that people are overtaxed? What do you do so that it will be within an affordable level for the people not to complain? There are certain amenities you need that will ordinarily go by way of legislation. For instance, if you want to put a school somewhere, it's not something you just verbally say and it happens. The governor can't do that. So, you must go by way of legislation. You make laws for you to say, look, I want to start so higher institution somewhere. You know, so there are certain policies, in executive there are certain policies, but some of these policies are actually well driven when they are backed by laws. Because ordinarily, the policies we make that are not backed by laws are not things that anybody can hold you for in case you default. Nobody. But once it is law, once you default, of course, you know the repercussions. You'll be punished for it. Even if it's ordinary policy. If you have a policy document you take to the court and say, look, this man refused to obey the policy of my government, there's nothing the court can do. And so a lot of these things we were conversant with, like I said. I would try to do everything possible to make sure that as beginners, we were on the right track to do a lot of these things to affect the lives of our people.
You were there for 3 terms. At the point you were a speaker.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, in finding you worthy, what would you say you did in terms of the bills you sponsored and the motions you supported, in terms of your constituency projects for people?
Now, like I said before, it's just that people have misunderstood the workings of the legislators. Ordinarily, the business of a legislator is to make laws. But to the ordinary man who sees us in the village, they know you as the man in government. And so, whether you are making all the laws, they are not too much interested. They will say, ask you, what did you bring to our people? But there is practically a distinction between a legislator and the executive. Like I said, in lawmaking, principally you make laws, rule finding, rule making, rule keeping. That is the business of the lawmaker. You make the laws, and then you interface with the people by way of constituency outreach. And then if you have the opportunity, then of course there are a few things that you can also get across to your constituency. We are lawmakers, yes, agreed, but we also report to the people. Please give us constituency projects that we can cite in some of these communities, so that at least at the end of the day, we can have some of these things that we can also rely on. With the fear of God speaking today, apart from the present administration of the present governor, in the last 4 years now, or thereabout, all the jobs in my constituency, as at that time, Brutu North constituency, were my constituency jobs. None went from the executive. And I challenge anybody to it. Who was a commissioner at that time? Who was a special advisor at that time? Who was anything at that time from Brutu? If the executive ever took one project there, this present governor tried to make a difference by citing projects in my constituency. And so the new projects we now have in my constituency are from the executive this time around.
Yeah, that way around.
Yes, they're from the executive this time around. And I was here for 12 years and voluntarily left to go to the National Assembly. I didn't wait for anybody to say you have overstayed your period of work.
Hi, welcome to my new Delta. This past 4 years has been so amazing with Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa as governor. Lots of entrepreneurial and wealth opportunities has been created in the state. Infrastructural developments in all sectors. Over 200 roads have been completed, highways and urban roads. Primary health care has greatly been improved upon. Now you can get health support with ease. Even the educational sector was not left behind. It has received tremendous boost. The state has now become a sport destination. This past 4 years has been so amazing in Delta State. Who knows what the next 4 years will look like? Come with me. Let's create a stronger Delta with Senator Dr. Arthur Ifeanyi Okowa, my governor.
Okay, and you went to the House of Representatives.
I went to the House of
Okay, so at that point you were playing what I call national politics.
Yes.
Now, let's compare national politics to state politics. Was there any difference?
So much of a difference. So much of a difference. And I may be bold to say, if you ask me again, I would still want to be there at the national. You see, there is a place where you need to beg to survive. there is another place where you need to make people survive. Here at the state level, you beg to survive. The national level, you make people survive. Why? It was revealed to us that maybe about 10, 11 states can survive on their own. That a lot of other states are insolvent.
These states are insolvent.
What do you mean? There are states that cannot survive on their own without the federal. It's because our laws are tailored in such a way that for every month, the governors of these states have to go to Abuja to say, please give us money to go and survive. National level, you have so many opportunities. You determine what should go to your state. You determine what should go to your local government by way of revenue sharing. And in lawmaking, the laws made by the National Assembly are superior to the laws made by the State Assembly. They take precedence. And in the National Assembly, when you are on the floor speaking, the freedom is not what you can quantify as compared to what you find at the state level. There you are free, particularly by the protection of the Privileges and Immunity Acts of the National Assembly, provided you do not want to deliberately step on the toes of the executive. You are free to say anything, provided it is in the interest of the people, provided it is in the interest of the government, provided it is in the interest of this country. And for me, if you ask me, it's more interesting there at the national level. I agree with you that when you are here, you are closer to the people. But, like I said, the national policies, the national question, the national laws, the acts of the National Assembly will always and always, as given by the Constitution of this country, supersede the laws made by the National Assembly. And I found it interesting because there were no boundaries.
Okay. So you said you'd like to go back to the national, or why did you leave?
Now, the issue is this. Sincerely, I had given myself a time limit, just the way I did in the State Assembly. But I was not able to achieve that, not because I decided to leave, but the circumstances at that time made me to leave. But I still say it. Given the different scenarios, what I said was that I prefer the national question to the state question, yes.
Okay, as a DG of Direct Labor Agency, what exactly?
First of all, the law establishing this agency was made by us when I was in the House of Assembly here. Principally, the business of this agency is to maintain and to construct roads in any part of the states that we think there's need. And since I came, that's what we have been doing.
We just finished 4 years of administration. If you have to look at it, peruse it very well, what would you say? Would you say that we've gained some things, new things have happened, we've achieved a lot, or we've just achieved something?
Yes. Even in the capacity I serve as DG here, my coverage is the whole of Delta State. And I've been working with the governor since I came. Now, if you need to talk about our immediate vicinity, that is the Brutu local government that I come from, for the first time, we now see executive presence in Brutu local government. I said so before. And this is what is expected of every governor in this state. No one governor can transform this state in 4 years, even in 8 years. But if you do little, by the time any other person comes taking over from you and it starts from there, that is how development is obtained in advanced places. Particularly when you put structures that are enduring. There's a lot of difference between the time we assumed office 2015 and today. If you go to Bruto, I'm able to tell you that there's no difference. I think the governor has tried, but I also think that by virtue of the dictates of dynamics in politics and the yearnings of our people, particularly towards what they want at the grassroots level, in the next 4 years of Governor Okowa's administration, if he can replicate what he has done in the first 4 years, I'm sure that Bruto will be a better place. And by extension, to a lot of communities that I have seen. 2 days ago, I drove through one community, and I was excited with what I saw. That is what is expected. He cannot do everything at a time for everybody. But what we should also emphasize, my brother, is that whatever thing you are putting on ground should be enduring. Because it will make no sense if I put something on ground, and in the next administration, the same thing has washed away and we have to start again. And that is one of the problems we have with Nigerian contractors and supervisors. First of all, let all of us be committed to our hearts that, look, we are here to serve the people and not for the purpose of the money alone. But now, what happened in the first 4 years, in the first 8 years, did not stand the test of time. And so we have to go back, meaning that we are not progressing. And that's what has kept us here. For all these years and all this money is put into some of these projects, it's like people are not doing anything. Because we keep on repeating them. And who is the cause? It's some of us who are contractors. And my appeal has been, look, yes, the money is important, but at least maintain your name.
Okay, so finally, sir, we want, me and you and Deltans want a greater and a stronger Delta. That's what we aim for. A better place, a model state. How do you think that will be achieved?
When you have a system, what you ordinarily do is to fit in the variables into the equation, and you get an answer. And that's why you remember Papa said the other day, that what we need in this country, it's not that you have an axe to kill anybody. It's not the strong persons we need, but we need a very strong system. We need greater Delta. A Delta better than yesterday. What we should be doing is to be reinforcing our system of operation. Let us, in our determination towards building a better Delta state, have a formidable system that can take us beyond where we are. Number one. Number two, whoever that is going to be anywhere to man any system should be able to operate the system well. If you have, for instance, what you are doing now, is for me, it's personal to you. Know how to do it well. You've been in it, so you know how to do it well. But if you bring in somebody who is an alien to this profession, the quality you will get will not be the same as what you will get. So while the system is important, we will also try as much as possible to put the proper persons in the proper places. Nigerians are tired of people waiting for people to learn on the job. People are not even ready to stay there to learn on the job. People are not ready to stay there to learn on the job. And therefore, the advice is that we should try as much as possible as people who are collectively responsible to our people, stakeholders in this business, to make sure that we are doing the things right. It is not about us.
As an Izon man,
yes,
what's your favorite food?
First, you see, the truth of the matter is that I'm not really a food person.
Yeah, but when you get to your
I eat starch. I don't eat eba. No, I don't eat eba. I don't eat rice. But I eat starch. But, no, I don't eat black plantain. I don't eat yam. I eat starch, and there's this soup we call white soup. These people here call it in salad. We have something very close to it as a job people. Then banga soup. And I do those ones. But I like beans a lot. I don't eat rice, but I like beans a lot.
Okay, so thank you very much for having me around this. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. And congratulations
Thank
for
you
all
very
you've
much.
achieved in your life. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Indeed, a focused and disciplined politician, one who has contributed so greatly to the development and advancement of Delta State, Honorable Franc Enekorogha. Well, if you say you have seen so much from Deltascope, this beautiful platform, then watch out for the next guest who will play host to next week. For your comments, contributions, and suggestions, please use our social media handles as displayed on your screen. As the curtain drops this week on Deltascope, we enjoin you to please join in the development of Delta State. Let's together make Delta State stronger. Until next week when we come your way again, on behalf of the producer and the production team, this is Onome Iyaruwe signing off.